Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blades of Roses, a game of swashbuckling action, suspenseful intrigue, and parties, sometimes all set in the world of 7th Sea. My name is Dan McCurdy. I will be your storyteller this evening. Let me introduce you to my table of wonderful players, starting with Marquis.
Hello, everyone. I am Marquis, to be found here on Twitch, as well as many other places, at Marquis1305. If you can't find me there, it's because you're not allowed to. Anyways, I am playing Mesara O'Toole, the Inishmore princess, who did a thing last time and doesn't want to talk about it right now. Next.
I am Sea Cow Explosion on the Tiki Talks and a couple other places that I probably forget to check. And I'm playing Kristoff, the person who will probably be unconscious by the end of this session. Salt.
I am Salt, or Saltiest Unicorn, on the TikToks and a few other places that I also don't check regularly enough. Playing Smoke, or Captain Reina de Gustavo. And very proud that Mez has embraced the things, but will not bring it up until she's ready to. Took.
Hello, hi, I am Took I Guess. You can find me everywhere, especially on the Twitch and the Tiki Talks at Took I Guess. I did nothing wrong, and I am playing the Thieving Blood Witch, Juniper Gagnon.
You did all the right things for once.
See?
Mama
See?
proud.
Mom approved.
Mama proud.
Cass.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Nikki, aka Crafty Mirage on all socials, and I will be playing Lucrecia Castille de Marquez, the person who I've determined is just gonna problem solve and tell everyone else to hit the things.
All right. At the end of our previous episode, there was a little bit of a problem. They were at Seal Island, only normally spoken in Eisen, and I'm forgetting the word right now. They had come together because a colony had been formed by one of the nibblings of our Kristoff, and they were bringing some supplies to help get this colony through the winter. They were brought there by Waerhilde Helmut, a warrior from Eisen who had gotten them into a little bit of trouble before. While they were there, Kristoff ran into an old acquaintance / flame. The party didn't really get a chance to get into that very much. She started out by healing him, and by the end they were all fighting to the death, and it got very close for a few of them in that particular battle. The ruins at the top of the island had been triggered and were summoning in all sorts of siren attackers that began attacking the village down below. But while Waerhilde and others were fighting the battle down there, the party were struggling with Katharina, the Selkie, who was attempting to use the ruins to destroy or at least drive off the villagers from Seal Island. But the battle was successful and involving some interesting deals that apparently are not being talked about right now, and some very clever problem solving from the entire team. And yes, another bout of unconsciousness for Kristoff. The party was able to settle. The ruins were magically reconstructed, and the island and the villagers upon it were safe. It's been a couple of days, and all of the town is gathered in the Longhouse, the main town gathering area, for a celebration that had been promised. The party has had some time to recover from their wounds and to mainly take it easy and get a rest, much needed after everything that had gone on. And the party is now even more than was expected, because they are now the primary guardians of an ancient piece of old Empire lore. And they're very excited to get to see it and get to know what it contains. A little careful about touching the things, but a neat opportunity to study into the lore of what came before them. And so now the party is all gathered around. A celebration is going on. People who have been working so hard to establish a home for themselves finally letting loose. Musicians are playing instruments. The crew of the Cerulean Tides has come in, and they are also joined in, except for whatever poor soul got assigned to watch the ship while everyone else was having fun. And what is the party doing?
Dancing?
I'd probably be the poor soul that was watching the ship.
Not a chance. You know your nibblings aren't letting you sit this one out.
No, Kristoff, you have to be dancing.
Everything hurts when I move, but I'll do what I can.
I understand.
Hang on. Hang on. And she's gonna look at, like, she'll like look through, like, because at this point she's got some of the medical stuff on her because how hurt he was. So she's got it in her bag, and she's gonna look at a few jars. I know that one of these is for pain.
At this point, Runa comes over and is like, actually, for pain right now, we're prescribing this. And she hands Kristoff another mug.
That also works. Okay.
That'll do.
What is in the mug that Runa knew to hand to her uncle when he was recovering from a very bad day?
It's an Eisen bomb. Mead with a shot of vodka dropped into it.
Oh, fucking God.
It's because potatoes are the most universal, wonderful food source on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Kristoff, why aren't you using whiskey?
Are we in the Inish Islands right now?
No,
Then why are you drinking whiskey?
because it's the best, obviously.
And here in Eisen, your accent's rubbing off on me.
It does.
See,
and when you're here in
this
Eisen,
is why you have the whiskey.
you drink something that can pickle the dead.
I don't want to deal with the dead anymore.
Well,
What's Smoke up to?
conversation over.
I'm going to enjoy the party for a little while. Try and hear some of the stories, because of course the villagers would have partially seen some of the sirens and stuff, which would have triggered all kinds of other Eisen stories.
Mm-hmm.
And gather those. And then when I've gathered enough sufficient, I probably would go and relieve the person at the ship. So I had my fun and then would go and let them have some fun.
Interestingly enough, there's almost no monster talk at this particular function. And as you're listening, you start getting the impression, oh, right, the reason they built this colony in the first place was to get away from the monsters. And so monsters are not party talk in Eisen, but in the couple of days since the fight, you've had some chance to kind of hear what had happened. And these folks are mostly fairly simple, farmers who lost their farmland or various holdings or whatever in undead attacks. And ghouls seem fairly universally to be what they had been dealt with. There's stories of bigger, scarier things, but the bigger, scarier things, folks like this tended not to survive. So there's the legends, but mostly the Walking Dead is what they have been dealing with.
And see, I'm looking for the legends. I like the stories and I'm just gathering that information just a little bit over the days and then enjoying the evening.
Mm-hmm. You hear tales of werewolves. Waerhilde has a story of mimics who can take the appearance of the living and adopt their identity. That freaks some people out. But in general, at this party, folks are just partying because for a second here, it looked like the monsters were going to be a problem here too. You do catch that apparently Waerhilde did the lion's share of the work in the attack on the village. Some of the men did grab arms and did whatever she told them to, but for the most part, their job was to protect those who couldn't protect themselves, and Waerhilde took the fight to the sirens with great success.
That would lead me to one other question.
Okay.
In the days since the repair on the sanctuary, whatever it is up there, the ruins, I also probably would have taken time to inspect, re-look through everything to see if there's anything that they need to do to maintain it.
I'm imagining Cass would have helped you with that because of her.
Yeah, Cass definitely would have helped because she is a little bit of a nerd with this stuff.
And as you were looking stuff over, you're getting the impression that the table there was a catalyst, sort of priming the pump, a way to get the magical energy flowing, at which point it seems like the ruins are mostly self-perpetuating, but had gotten so run down and so damaged that they were starting to fail. And then someone did a last bit of damage. Someone, who knows who, it might be a mystery, to trigger... well, the thing you're not entirely sure is how the effect got reversed. How it went from doing what it was supposed to do to doing the opposite. Mm-hmm. But you're pretty sure left alone, they will be fine. And actually, since they do seem to be vaguely self-repairing, your main question is, how old are they that they managed to get that dilapidated?
Okay. Those are all the things I'm pondering, thinking, enjoying the occasional whatever they have to offer.
Yep.
I would have drawn up-to-date picture sketches of how it looks like restored, because I would take that back to try to study with what resources I have at home.
And ironically, once it was fully repaired, it did not always form in ways you've come to expect, and that's kind of given you a chance to see the changes in this sort of architecture that the Vaticine has instituted over time, whether through, just cultural drift or intentional change. You're not sure, but what's Mesara up to?
Mesara's getting Waerhilde to dance.
She has no compunction against that whatsoever. She's been partying probably the hardest of anyone there. She's not drinking, and her sword's nearby, but she's definitely enjoying herself and dancing with anyone who wants to take a step. She is almost never sitting down to eat or anything like that. She's
making sure that there are dance circles. We're making sure that there are parents off.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping things going because we understand what morale needs.
Mm-hmm.
Did Timothy ask Cass to dance again?
Almost certainly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Still oblivious.
How about Junie? How's Junie handling the party?
He's watching people dance. Ooh. Hold on, I just knocked my headphones out because I'm professional. He's watching people dance, and pretty much just drinking and kind of keep it to himself and messing with that ring as much as possible. Mm-hmm. Anytime Waerhilde come anywhere near him, he kind of walks the other way.
All right, he's keeping distance.
Can I notice that?
He's not.
It'd be hard to miss. It's not a big gathering.
Don't you?
At this point, I think it's now who gets to him first, Kristoff or Mesara.
You know what? Let's do a risk. No.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh boy.
What are we rolling?
So let's see. We'll say it's your ability to. So it's the first person to see it and then act on it. So let's go wits and empathy. Wits and empathy to notice it and then be like, I see what you're doing.
Lovely. I love that roll for me.
Can I spend a 0 point to make it harder? Oh wait, no, I'm not a villain.
You could give someone dice if you wanted to, I suppose.
Mez definitely got to it first. I'm probably moving a little slow with my injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, that's 2, 3, 4.
All right. Versus 1. So both Kristoff and Mez see this, but Mez acts first. What does Mez do?
Junie, would you care for a dance?
He'll stop walking. Matt. You know what? Sure, my lady. And then he'll grab her hand and start leading.
And she allows him to lead. But in her allowing him to lead, she's circling them closer to Waerhilde with every turn.
And he'll notice it and start moving in a different direction.
So, Is there anything you want to say about that?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about at all, man.
Well, you see, there was something about a kiss mentioned. Aye?
A what? You have something in your throat that didn't. You said a car,
A kiss?
a kiss with you?
Yeah? No.
No.
That will not be happening. And even if it were to be happening, I have someone else in line already. So.
Oh, yeah. Which, we should probably talk about that instead of what I'm avoiding. And let's talk about what you're avoiding, huh?
I'll talk about it if you do.
Ah, crap.
You weren't expecting the old show me yours and I'll show you mine, were you?
No. You go first.
All right. Well, obviously I'm engaged.
Oh, you're actually telling me. Now I have to.
Now you have to do the thing, aye. I don't exactly know who I'm engaged to because I kind of skipped out on the ship I was supposed to be taking to be meeting them.
So you ran away from a marriage?
Yes, that would be it. And this that you've seen from the only person I actually almost let kiss me.
Ah.
Almost.
Is it the you mentioned one time, was it the
Montanian? No.
Ah, no.
It was not. Though he offered many a time.
Right.
But he offers many a people many a time, so there's not much to it.
This ought to make a lot more sense. All right. Well, is there more to that, or are you just going to keep running? You're not going to go back at all?
Going to have to go back eventually.
Well, it seems like if you go back, we're going to be with you. So, if this guy is a what's the word? A Oshlok, I think that's what they say here.
That's one of them. Hi.
I wouldn't mind, punching him in the face a lot. Just ask.
I think of all of us, I could probably be handling it.
Nah, you got that point. You can punch them in the face.
Not certain I could be punching them, but, they might be missing a few important bits after a time.
Oh, you're a lot more scarier than, originally that I thought,
What, you thought I was all about bars and parties?
I mean, that in a lot of money. Yes. Also, you're compassionate, you're sweet, you're short and feisty.
I am indeed short and feisty. I don't know so much about the other ones. So, about you avoiding things. Your turn.
All right, fine. So, I'm very attracted to her. I mean, when I say very, I mean, she's strong. She could probably lift me up, and that's hot. But she scares me, one. Two, the last time I got into someone of that type, I almost died.
If you start off with this one, you might be dying as well.
This is the first one that I think that if I did get in trouble, she'll come in and save me, like I'm a damsel in distress, if that makes sense. Granted, compared to her.
Considering I'm meant to be being the damsel, I understand it.
You carried a sword in your pocket. I don't think you're the damsel in distress.
My father doesn't know that I was carrying a sword in my pocket.
That does not mean you're the damsel in distress. You're still a very dangerous person.
Aye, but I'm not meant to be.
All right. And then he'll turn and look and see that you're scooting him closer to her. He goes, sometimes I really hate you.
I know you do, but I know you love me as well. Now, I'm not the one you should be having this conversation with, and we'll pass off in the next exchange and swap partners with Waerhilde.
I swear to
Waerhilde comes into the dance, and she's been going at the dancing so hard. She's flush, she's got everything, and she steps in with you and is just dancing around and just has that look of someone who's just really letting go and having as good a time as they can. That very no compunctions. It's not even particularly flirty. Like, she's happy she's dancing with you, but it's just a lot of enjoyment in the moment. And at one turn in the dance, she finally looks at you and says, "You didn't let me say I'm sorry last time."
I know it, but it's fine. These
No.
things happen, it's okay.
You probably would have made the right choice. I just needed to hurry you up.
You're also very strong. You're also very intimidating. And I'm pretty sure if I was like, no, we're not doing that, you would have just, snatched me up by my little, scruff and took me away. Oh, sorry, you did exactly that.
At least I kissed you too.
At first I was like, oh no, we did a really bad thing. That happened in the middle of something really bad. And then I was like, oh, she's going to be married off in like, I don't know, a couple months. But, based on that reaction just now, it seems like you really don't want that.
It's not what I would have chosen. But have you ever had to do something that wouldn't have been your choice because it was the best for everyone else?
I've been selfish a good majority of my life, and then I make these group of, insert mean name here, but with the most politeness I can actually sound. I've been doing nothing but making decisions for keeping them safe. So, yeah, I understand. Maybe not to the extent that you are doing it, but to me, they're my word,
What I'm doing might bring stability to my homeland and everyone who lives there.
Right.
And that's worth a lot. And I don't know that I ever would have gotten around to marrying anyway, so that's the way my mother's shade won't keep yelling at me.
Right. So, next thing I know is I want to ask, because I feel like I should have been asking. I want to apologize for not letting you apologize. It was just a kiss, right? Because I am the type of person that falls hard for your type. So I need to know. I'm being very straightforward. I have to know.
You're a beautiful person, Juniper.
Yep. No, right.
I've enjoyed getting to know you in the little bit of time we've had in all of this chaos.
Yes.
But you're right. I am spoken for, and maybe it'll be one of those things where everyone has a lover, and that's fine. But when you get right down to it, a pretty simple girl from a simple village, and I've never known how to do things halfway. And so I'm going to try to do this right.
Of course.
And it would be horrible of me to keep someone like you waiting in the wings while I was trying to figure that out.
Sorry. Back in character. You got this. Then, I am a thief. So, thief in the night.
And one of the things you've stolen has been me. So,
that is interesting. That is so cute. The great thievery of the one who's supposed to marry this great leader. And then, she got stolen by a wimpy, small, somewhat muscled, very handsome blood witch man.
What would be funny is if you did steal me away. But then the vagabundos would probably have something to say about the intentional destabilization of Eisen. And I happen to know something about one of your friends.
Yeah.
And it might be awkward if she had to come and save me from you. She laughs, and she kind of leans in and puts her forehead against yours. If it helps, I'm a bit old for you anyway, but...
You don't even know how old I am, huh? I'm
20s?
offended. No.
Well, you look young. Maybe
Thank
it's
you.
good blood.
Black don't crack.
She puts a kiss on your cheek and spins off to the next partner.
And he's like, all right. Well, time to go cry and drink. And he leaves the dance floor, grabs a whiskey, looks at Maz and goes, mm-mm. And he turns and he goes to drink by himself outside.
Oh, you think it's by yourself.
Oh my God.
Leaves her partner without like a word, and it's just like, nope.
So while all that is happening, and Mesara is helping Junie deal with these feelings that she signed him up for, Runa comes over and sits down next to Kristoff. Did you get a chance to talk to them about taking her?
Not yet.
Y'all are planning on leaving soon, right?
Yeah, and I don't imagine it'll be a problem. I'm going to admit, with the concussion and the blood loss, it did slip my mind a little bit.
Would it be easier if I did it? They do feel a bit like family, given their connection to you.
They are. I don't think it'd matter who it comes from, but if you want to ask, I think actually that might mean something.
Waerhilde would walk on her own, thinking she was fine all the way. But having you with her, I think she would really appreciate.
I think you're right. I think we should probably make sure that her groomed me doesn't become a widower ahead of time. Everyone's fine and nice until they're not.
Yeah.
Maybe you go ask one of them. You may not realize it yet, but I think y'all are cousins now.
A year ago, the idea of being cousins to a princess would have been the most unlikely thing I could ever have heard of. But now I'm about to be sister to a duchess, so expectations shift fast.
Yeah, they do. The last couple of months have been interesting, so take it from an old man, it does not slow down. It just catches you off guard again. Where do you go up from princess? I guess
Queen.
maybe
Emperor.
Pascal could go become a king, maybe? He'd be terrible at that.
She smiles. Need your drink touched up?
No, everything that should be numb is numb, and everything that shouldn't be is still.
Where'd the captain go? Where'd she go? Did she leave?
More likely than not, knowing Smoke, she probably went to the ship to relieve whoever is on duty so they could go out and have fun, and she's probably trying to read a book right about now, which means it's about the perfect time for somebody to go and knock on her cabin door.
All right. Okay. You take care. And Runa gets up, kind of checks in on her kids, and then heads over to the ship. Smoke has just sat down and started reading when there's a knock at the door.
All right. All right. At least I haven't gotten into a chapter yet.
It opens and then walks through now.
You know, there's some very interesting tales out there. I wish.
What do they say about this place?
You know, that's the funny thing. This place isn't on any maps. Like,
Not even the old ones. I knew they weren't on any new ones, but she kind of comes over.
no, it's not on any of them. I'm purposely not adding it to any of mine. If it's been this way for this long, I think it should stay that way. Especially with your ruins up there.
Yeah. She sits down near you and our family have a favor to ask you. I mentioned it to Kristoff, but then he got knocked out by a sea monster.
I tried to stop him, but you know how he gets.
The day he sees a hit that's going to take someone that he loves and doesn't try to get in the way, assume he's already dead. Or a mimic. Apparently that's a thing.
Oh, the tales.
Yeah. We received a letter from the Duke. And it appears that Duke Wolf of Heinzel believes the time has come. And I can't go. I've got to keep track of all of these folks here, and we have no idea how approachable this place is going to be in the wintertime. And it would mean a lot to us, and I know to Kristoff as well, if you would take the time to escort her to Heinzel for the wedding.
Not that fond of mainland, but I like that one. And from time to time, we all need some people in our corner. I'm guessing that this is not her idea of how her life should go, but she's going to do it anyway because she's a Helmuth. Right? Seems like it's a family trait.
Yeah, you've noticed. We can all be pretty pig-headed.
Yeah, you're all pig-headed. It's an adorable trait.
And apparently it's not just us. Apparently we're cousins now, so...
Oh, yes, that's because he's adopted everyone.
Yeah.
That's kind of also a trait, apparently. Considering you're staying here with all of your adopted ones.
You know, and she holds up her arm, which again has had the hand cut off and has a prosthetic attached to it. This happened because I wouldn't shut up this one time. And now people want to hear my opinion on things. Weirdest thing.
I don't see a problem. We might be able to come back. Maybe with a few more supplies. I can look.
I certainly wouldn't mind. Your best bet's probably Adel. It's the port city that's closest to Heinzel. And it's far enough away from here that it won't be immediately obvious where you were coming from.
Thank you. That's next to what I would have plotted with Jonathan. I'm going to be keeping an eye and ear out. There's a few captains that I would trust that could potentially come and do trade with you that would not so easily betray your location and whatnot and would do fair business. You're going to need that at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got most everything, but you will need it at some point.
Eventually, we'll have to let the lords know where we are, but hopefully by then we'll be established enough that the taxes won't be what breaks our backs. Thank you, Captain.
You're welcome. Keep some other things in thought. There's a possibility of becoming your own nation out here.
That's thinking big even for a Helmut. We'll have to see what... And again, we're about to have good relationships with both a princess and a duchess, so no reason to think small.
Well, and, quite a bit of the pirate nations are all individual nations that just gather.
Oh, to join the Labukan League.
It's an idea. Especially if you don't want all the taxes coming after you.
What's that? All right. I'll go and check in with the others. Thank you. I will leave you to your book.
Yes. Chapter 2.
Don't lie. It's still chapter 1. You haven't gotten that far yet. I've never let you read a book that long. As she heads out, Bruno goes out from the ship, is walking back up, and comes outside of the longhouse, just happens to walk past Mesara and Junie as they are discussing. Let's say you all get interrupted midstream of a conversation. How has that conversation been going for the last little bit?
You actually mean you told her you're gonna steal her?
No, I thought it was a good line.
It was a good line. It was very romantic. Hello, dear.
Runa walks up and smiles at both of you and says, I'm talking to as many folks as I can. I've asked, on behalf of all of our family, for you all to accompany Hilde to Heinzel. The Duke has said it's time. And
of course.
We can't go, and she'll need her family with her.
Well, at the very least, I promised her how to teach her how to pin her hair up a bit more.
Don't let her use a little sword. She's going to want to. Please.
I cannot promise anything. That's a very good spot to be hiding things.
She laughs and goes,
Not quite what I meant, however. More how to do this part of the deal.
I'm sure she'll have a million questions for you on your way.
As long as she can expect a million back.
And Herr Gagnon, thank you so much for everything you've been doing while you're here. And I know a road trip into Eisen probably wasn't high on your priority list, but...
Well, I don't really have a wonderful choice anymore. Just like, spilling my feelings. And then, anyway.
And she thanks you both and walks on in. Meanwhile, Cass, yet again disengaging from Timothy, who is not being shut down, but also not being particularly encouraged, and so has very little idea on how to play this. Anything else Cass is getting up to, or Kristoff for the night?
Cass would have just checked in on Kristoff every now and then because he got beat up so bad.
I probably would have spent the entire night hanging out with my grand nibblings and doing grand nibbling stuff and dancing with them and getting to know the ones that were even born by last time I was in Eisen. So yeah.
Letting them dance by standing on your feet?
Yeah. No, very, very traditional grandfather maneuvers here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's a playbook and we're going to stick to it. We're not getting fancy this time.
All right. So the rest of the evening goes well, goes quietly. Everyone retires. And we are going to, for the sake of time, fast forward. It's been a few days, Cerulean Tides having offloaded all of the goods that they had brought to Seal Island, and having gotten some goods back, some things to help them with their trade. Not a ton, but like fresh water and some food, like prepared food and stuff to help kind of stock things up. A little bit of extra booze that the island could spare because the rum was missed on the quick leave. Was there something for you, Salt?
No, I was like, sorry, rum. We had to have a party.
Yeah.
At one point. We're the reason the rum's gone. It's what you were expecting.
So did you have any other plans or anything you would do to anything special about the trip, or simply sailing into Adele? Good for you.
Mesara spends the entirety of the trip teaching like proper court dances to Waerhilde.
And it's not going great because the ship is rocking and neither of you are still the best at that, but she's doing what she can.
Look, you were just worry about, counting the steps in your head. That's all you have to do.
Sorry. Go ahead, Salt.
Fine. As far as the direction and whatnot, she's not wrong. I would want to sail down a little bit and then maybe go a tiny bit further so that when we come up, it looks like we're coming from a different direction. Cool. And in the meantime, plot with Jonathan. After talking with Hildy, how far of a walk are we talking? So that we know, does Jonathan have enough time to do maybe some light trading while we're gone?
Yeah. Particularly since royal weddings tend not to be quick and easy affairs. You imagine you're going to have at least a few weeks, and that's if you insist on meeting the ship back at Adele. So he's like, if you just want us operating around here, he's like, I can do several runs on the Maw. The folks in Veston are going to want to be doing all the trade they can. Leading into winter, so
I would almost I almost want to change the name of the Cerulean Tide when we're gone, just because of tracking purposes. So
the ship shudders a little bit as you say that out loud.
Yeah, I don't need your opinion either. Fine, but understand, I don't want the ship tracked or caught while we're gone. I'll say this to the ship. I feel the shudder, probably held in my cabin, everything just... That's my point. I don't want you tracked. I don't want you caught.
Cass up in the crow's nest. Did we hit a reef?
Jonathan, also a little bit confused, but captains often talk to their ships, so he doesn't question it too much. He's like, well, actually, if we operate primarily out of Seal Island, based on my understanding from you... Oh, and also, once you got a bit of a ways away from the island, you became aware of Delphine again.
Gotcha.
But, so you're starting to get an idea. Would you have told Jonathan about your tattoo and what you were doing to kind of track? Okay, so because he knows about that, he says, if there's a place where she can't sense us...
Well, and she's tracking me. That's what she's tracking. That's what Bruce can feel. So with me off the ship and going on land, there's a lot less likelihood. I just also would rather you periodically maybe stop. Do you need a little extra supplies for the winter? Just a little bit more, if we can make that happen while we're gone.
Absolutely.
If you happen to meet a few more crew members that...
We've got room now, so we could add some crew without getting too full up.
Just a handful more. Just give you a few extra hands.
I'll look into it.
Okay. That's my concern. You have handled that. We'll leave and handle the rest.
Gotcha. Planning on meeting you back here at a sign of time? Okay. Anyone else getting up to anything else on the ship?
Just while we were sailing, anytime I wasn't in the crow's nest, learning from Kristoff some medical stuff.
All right.
And I'm going to help with teaching Hildy how to dance. Mez,
Okay.
You're trying to teach her like she's at a court, but you're trying to teach that to an ornery ox of a woman who's trained how to fight. Can I see your poking thing?
Why?
I'm going to use Mez's sword to stab at Hildy's feet to get her to move them appropriately to start learning how to dance.
This feels oddly familiar.
She looks at you for a second, and you can see her hand twitch to the sword that is not there. But she's like, fine. And with that added, she moves in. And Hill can do folk dances great, but folk dances are often hurl yourself in a direction, and just so the kind of more the daintier moves of the court, and like make the step. And she's like, I feel like I'm a horse being put through its prances.
That's exactly what you are.
Basically, yeah. You're a pretty pony. All right.
You realize that that's what these...
And I'll handle the arm and upper body stuff, and we'll just keep making her twitch in the direction she needs to.
All right. And she clearly doesn't like it, but she does take to it pretty quickly. And though she grumbles, like, and so many times, it's like, I'm becoming a general, not a...
You don't have to put up with their guff, Hildy. You know you can take them down later tonight. Sword practice.
Here's the thing. You're going to have to be both. And you're going to have to be both at all times. There's not going to be a difference between you're on the battlefield and when you're on the dance floor. You need to show them that you're both the general and the Duchess.
Honestly, the dance floor is the worst battlefield.
She gives her long braid a shake and keeps working at it. And as you say that, you see like her eyes go into determined mode, and you watch as she just starts taking to it a little better. And Mez, it took you a lot longer to learn these dances. Granted, you were 5, but she approaches it with that determination, and with that guiding the ship in, you all arrive in Adele, and it's a small port city. Nothing particularly careful as you all are disembarking. Jonathan first helps arrange stage travel, because it's like, if you're moving with the Duchess, probably best to not, walk. And then starts getting to his trades, does some extra confirmations with Salt.
So, here's the thing. Kristoff, you and I are going to be acting as guards, so we're going to be getting horses to ride alongside the stage.
Makes sense. You're a little short for one, but...
Excuse me? What do you mean I'm short for one?
I'm just saying, if we're going to keep up appearances, it might work a little bit better if we have Junie and I be the guards outside.
Actually, Junie would be better inside, because if we need to get Waerhilde somewhere out of there quickly and safely, he could do his thing and get her out of there a lot quicker than you could.
That's how big I am.
I would like you to assess the statement you just made. If you need to get Hildy somewhere safe, are you planning on dragging her? The last time we tried to get Juniper to take her somewhere safe, she dragged him back in.
See?
Fair point. So, from what I'm hearing, you need to be in the stagecoach with her, because she might actually listen to you. All right, so Mesara and I will be riding outside.
Yeah, at least
I'm
it's one.
terrible with horses, so I'm not arguing at any at this point. I'll be inside, or I can drive the carriage.
Right. So I need to find the biggest horse there is.
Clydesdale.
Yep.
Yep. There are riding horses, and in Eisen, they tend to be big, muscly. It's as much about what they can
Thoroughbred.
ride through as what they can ride over. So they are available. Mez, you are getting towards the end of your funds.
Yes, I'm aware.
All right. But so all this is handled, and the group starts heading down the road. And for the first day or so of travel, things are pretty easy. It's late fall, so it's less the pretty colors on the trees and more the leaves have fallen, the chill in the air. Not as bad as it was over the ocean, but still cold. And the first night's a bit of a cold camp, which some of you are very, very grateful to have the stage available just as a bit more warm, though it's hard to lay out in. So it's like curled out of the wind or near the fire is sort of the choice that some people have. And Kristoff has kind of taken the lead here. Is there anything you would show them about traveling overland in Eisen?
I do what we need to do to stay safe, which means I would constantly be poking my head out of the carriage as we're riding. I should be out there, but I'm also going to allow them to learn a few lessons the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll make sure nothing is actually going to harm them, but I am going to do nothing for their comfort.
All right.
Mesara brings out her lovely wool from an ish. The one thing she ensures is in her pack.
And it's on the second day of traveling. And all the jokes and everything that's going back and forth in the party. When the riders first will look up ahead and see what seems to be a bit of a skirmish. And just barely on the hint, the wind's not going in the right way. The sound of a moan that some of you have learned to be aware of.
Right. What direction?
On the road, in the way you're going.
Knock, knock, knock. Charge.
Take my rapier and my daggers out.
All right. As you all kind of charge forward in the stage, what's the stage doing when they charge forward? Oh, driver.
The stage will end up having to pick up a pace, but I'm not gonna like just go barreling down there. Yeah.
Okay. You all rush forward, and you can see it's not a huge group of ghouls, and they seem to be moving towards a village that's off the side of the road, but they're being fought by a lone swordsman who is moving quickly among them and doing it with the sort of Kristoff. He's doing it with a way of someone who has fought ghouls before and knows it's about don't rush, don't use energy you don't have to, drop one, move on to the next, make sure none of them get a hold of you. And as you're moving forward, Cass, you're kind of keeping an eye on things. You've got your sword ready, moving in, and then all of a sudden you realize you know who this is. You are looking at your favorite cousin.
I'm going to kick the horse faster and get some daggers ready to start throwing at heads.
Mm-hmm. So you all move in to jump. There are about, we'll call this probably won't take very long. There's about 10 ghouls active. He's in the midst of them fighting. And we'll say in this first round, Mez and Cass will get to take part. And then if it's still going past that, all the folks in or on the stage will be able to join in. When I just say there are 10 of them. So approaches.
So, riding forward, I want to throw a dagger, but also get ready to just jump off the horse and be ready to start slashing.
All right, that sounds
Stabbing.
like finesse and aim.
I need to get better at this. With finesse, with panache, right? Or what's it called? With
Finesse and aim.
No, the when you with
You get
flavor.
the extra die. Yeah.
What's it
Oh
called?
yeah, flair.
Flair.
With flair. And Mesara.
Mesara is very much at home on war horses.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that there's no way I'm going to reach them without reaching me. So I'm just going to trample over them and scatter as many of them as I can.
All right. Let's get resolve and ride out of you for this one. Because you're not being subtle. All right, 2 raises.
That is 2 raises, and I have one I would like to sell.
All right.
I also had one left over, and I would like to sell it as well.
Okay. That is currently 7 danger dice. All right, so it was 3 and 3?
2.
2 and 2.
2 and 2, so 4, and he gets... All right, so moving through, Mesara, you just charge through, and the group just gets smashed in every direction, and 2 of them trampled directly underneath your horse. Cass, your first dagger goes in and slicks right into the skull of one of the ghouls. And at first you're like, oh, shoot, because your normal thought is a dagger in the head that's going to bounce off, but it actually manages to get in because of the awful things that happen to ghouls. And so it goes down, and you drop and manage to get a cut that pulls down another. He, moving amongst you, sees Cass and gets a really weird look on his face, which seems to distract him for a second, but he manages to get up and under and manages to drop another 3 of the ghouls. So
yeah, as I'm just jumping off the horse, just being like, "Oye, tonto, pay attention."
So since they were the closest and they were on him, he is going to take 2 minor wounds as the brute squad attacks. And now everyone who wants to participate in some way, shape, or form in what is going to be an absolute demolition of these last 2 ghouls, what you want to do.
Since I'm holding the carriage, though, like I would transfer the reins to one hand and see if I could fire off a shot or 2. But
Sure.
Just to see if I could get, that'd be it.
If you all have any things that you want to activate, like hero points, I'm not actually going to make us roll because there's absolutely no way this brute squad survives this round. But if there's any actions you want to take in this that would result in hero points for you, absolutely feel free to do that. I don't want you robbed. Anything like that.
Mesara, well, there's only 2 of them left.
Mm-hmm.
She would probably offer her hand back up to, or offer her hand down to Cass to pull her onto the back of hers. So that way Cass has both hands free to do the daggery throwing things while
Cass
she's
accepting?
handling the horse. No?
Cass is staying by her cousin.
All right, and the 2 pretty quickly kind of fall into back-to-back. And this is your first, Cass doesn't usually get that close to people all that fast, and so this was quick. Kristoff?
I'm just gonna go in and turn big ghoul bits into small ghoul bits.
All right, he's moving in. Junie?
I mean, are they? Is this? He's gonna look at.
It's just cinematic. It's not even a risk with this group against 2 ghouls. So
Okay. Yeah.
With 2 people, or them fighting off 2 ghouls, I'm actually going to move in and just start making sure that the ones that are already down are going to stay down. Just come in and do headshots and neck bleeds.
Yeah. It looks like he was doing a good job of it, but absolutely, you can move in and just. There's no reason to take a risk, so you just sort of handle it as only a Hexa would know how.
I'll just look at Waerhilde, and then I'll look outside, and I'll look at Waerhilde again, and I'll go.
Let's do it.
She's just going without opening the door, just slink out of the window. backflip for dramatics. And he's going to do pretty much the same thing that Kristoff's doing, is just making sure that they're down.
So, the ghouls get down. Everyone's handling fine. The shot goes off.
The
One of the
second,
ghouls.
the second that shot goes off, though,
Mm-hmm.
it's catatonic, can't screams, covers her ears, crouching in closer to the mud.
And he kind of turns around and he puts a hand on you. He's like, "Oh, right. Are you okay?" It's all right. It's all right. It's not here. And he starts talking in a very measured, kind of calm way, calming Cass down. The ghouls are handled, and folks from the village are kind of coming out, thankfully. And after a moment, he's like, "Lucrezia, it's over. It's okay."
She'll just get up, kind of just like push him away because she doesn't like people seeing her like that. Pout for a moment, then just give him a hug before he can even say anything.
He returns the hug and kind of sets her down. It's like, "I'm terribly sorry. Thank you so much for coming. I think I had it handled, but I very much appreciate the help. I'm Lucrezia's cousin, Rylan. And Marquis, would you like to describe Rylan to the group, please?"
I hate you so much.
Sorry, he swore me to secrecy.
I hate you so much. Rylan has dark, shaggy hair and bright blue eyes, and has several scars lining across his face, a few visible down to the neck, and a very scraggly scruff.
Mm-hmm.
Burly, probably about 6'2".
He looks around. He sees Kristoff handling things and says, "I see you know what you're doing with these things." And there is a Castilian accent to his voice as he speaks to you. You can see some of the resemblance between him and Cass. I can say I was not expecting to see my favorite cousin around here. How did you...
Don't worry about it. Kristoff, this is... You remember my Aunt Mirabelle?
Yeah.
This is her son.
Oh.
You know Mirabelle?
I don't
Do
want
we
to
know
talk.
Mirabelle?
Okay. So you really know Mom then. All right.
Tia liked him, but pero no.
Anyway, and he goes around introducing himself to everyone in a very kind of kind way. And when he comes over to you, Kristoff, and shakes his hand, you can see his uniform looks like it's been changed out repeatedly. Very similar to the soldier who, well, that piece of armor doesn't work anymore. What can I get that still works on someone and puts it on?
Does he have any Iron Cross, holy symbol, Vaticine stuff?
There is a
visible?
Vaticine symbol hanging from his neck.
Risky business wearing that out here with objectionists likely all around.
Yeah. Seemed like anything else would be unfair advertising. I used to be with the Inquisition.
Used to be.
They were more interested in hunting people than the undead. And so I thought I could be of more help.
Complete 180. At that point, I slap him on the back and start old man talking about, it seems like you actually kind of know what you're doing. Come on in here. And I'm just going to lead him over to the carriage and basically get him a drink.
He kind of turns to Cass, seeing the look on her face, like, your father didn't tell you.
No, the last time I heard anything about you, you were on your way here, but I know that Papi got a letter from you, but he got upset.
I didn't want to desert, so I informed the commander of the Inquisition what I was doing.
It's fine. I understand. They don't do everything right.
And Soren is like, oh, and sorry, ma'am. And he comes over to where Mez is on the horse and kind of offers a hand to help her down.
She has to physically stop herself from rolling her eyes, but accepts the hand and hops down.
You're good with this horse. You must have had training.
I assume he does. I don't know. I just met him a couple days ago.
Oh, more than fair. Formerly Inquisition soldier and now warrior without much in the way of rank. Rylan, good to meet you.
Mesara O'Toole, Inish princess.
He kind of glances over at Cass like, is she serious?
See, she's serious. Mommy's very happy that I'm hanging out with her. She doesn't know everything, though.
I would imagine. And, and he walks over to Juniper. You seem to know your way around the dead, too.
Now, Juniper will shake his hand very aggressively. Yeah, I do. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, certainly any experience. Such a party to come out of nowhere. You have as much reason to be here as me, so I don't want to act like I'm asking too many questions, particularly given my past, but yeah.
She'll just point at Kristoff.
Yeah.
As far as Kristoff is concerned, this being somebody who is a ex-Inquisitor who... They're not fighting enough monsters. I left the Inquisition. This is his new best friend. I'm inviting him to the wedding.
All right.
I'm going to then ask Hildy if it's okay if I invite him to the wedding. Then I'm going to go back to inviting him to the wedding.
Hildy's absolutely fine with it, and comes out. Well, actually, as you ask that, Hildy walks out, and at first he turns to her and nods and everything, goes back to what he's doing, and all of a sudden he kind of stands up a bit straighter, turns and looks at her and salutes. And she steps up and goes, I'm not the general yet. And he's like, everyone knows you're going to be, ma'am.
He already knew about the wedding, seems.
It's going to be the biggest thing in the country at the moment, or at least in that region. Everyone's going to know about the wedding.
I'm going to be one of her soldiers once the Legion forms. They're the ones who are going to be doing what we should have been. So, what I can do to help.
Sounds like you're coming with us right now.
I like it. Let's take care of some things. Make sure the village is okay, and then I don't have much, and we can get moving. And so he walks in and starts talking to some of the villagers about getting their defenses back and ready. But they, in general, it seems like they're villagers of Eisen. They've dealt with this before. They were just grateful for the extra kind of professional help.
While he's doing that, Cass is going to look to the rest of the party. No, Cass, Lucrecia is what you will call me. I don't need anything about me being with the Vagabundos anywhere near that, my family. Because we like to gossip, Castilians. If he tells his mother, she'll tell my mother. And my mother will tell my father. And then my father will probably kill me.
Kristoff, we've been through this already.
Where did you think I went, Kristoff? Where did you think I went when I put the hood and the mask on?
Oh, you just now... Oh, holy shit.
Right, you know the blonde one that runs around in the hood that looks exactly like what Cass wears all the time?
Mm-hmm.
But just has a purple mask?
Actually,
No, it's not purple, it's black.
Oh, black.
Hang on.
She doesn't even... All she does is flip the color of it.
She's literally going to just check over her shoulders if Rylan's not looking. She's going to pull out the mask and just press it against their face real quick before.
See? I figured it out on the third day. It
took you that
this
long. I met her while she was wearing it.
She met me while I was wearing it, and yeah, I thought she was going to be gone the next day. Nope.
Rylan walks back out from the village and looks at him and says, well, I think they're going to be ready to go to Heinzel.
Right. I
Yes.
assume you're riding in the carriage then?
He gives a whistle and a horse runs around. I'll ride alongside.
Understood.
Okay.
And as the party gets on ready for the last stage of the ride towards Heinzel, we are going to take a quick break. We will be back in about 10 minutes, and we will see you soon. And welcome back. The party has been traveling on the road, and for a road trip in Eisen, things are going remarkably well. Almost as if there's been a force in this area that has been aggressively working to keep it clear and keep it safe, using strategies that they hope to later expand to the rest of Eisen. And actually, as they're going along, Waerhilde would spend a fair amount of time talking to Kristoff about what she was trying to do, running some of her strategies past him as, is there any tweaks or anything that he would like to make, anything she's not seen? And as she lays out her plan for you, you start to recognize that it's basically what you taught her in single combat, but expanded in a brilliant way to full-scale combat. Minimizing losses at absolutely all costs, luring the undead into ambushes and things like that, taking advantage and getting away from the old Eisen charge everything to defensive fighting.
I can honestly say I don't have anything to add to that. Other than, once you start getting into the east and the north, that's going to be a different situation.
Some people have even talked about potentially diplomacy with some of them.
Distasteful as it is, there's some that you could. On the other hand, there's some hiding in plain sight that don't deserve that. But it's probably a good thing I'm not the one set to become Duchess, because I don't think anybody wants me trying to handle that situation.
Yeah.
Would not end well for anybody.
You all, in the distance in front of you, as you're traveling, you were always able to see the Draconeisen Mountains, but now they're rising up and are particularly visible. And Heinzel is built into the basically built into the hills. One of the reasons it has maintained as well as it has is it's just ridiculously defendable, and using that as a sort of home base, it looks like the troops that Hildy's been training have been very effectively carving out more and more safe territory for farmers, which means more food, which means more people come and gather, which means more soldiers, which means more farmers, which means more food. In the process, year by year, has started to show a good bit of success. You all are greeted as you're coming through the town and coming up to the castle at the gate. At the gate of the town, Hilda kind of gives a bit of a sigh, but then reaches out and hangs a tiny flag that she had on her person. And as it comes in, you all are stopped, but not questioned. And trumpeters start giving off a signal, which then spreads along the wall, heading to the castle. And a flag is raised over the castle, which Kristoff would recognize as the flag of the Western Legion.
I would have wanted to get off the carriage before we got into the town.
Okay.
And split off from the group.
Okay. Is anyone else looking to split off, or is everyone else staying for the trip to the castle? As you're doing that, Hildy looks at you and goes, "Where are you going?"
I'm still in exile.
You're safe here. There's no Inquisitors.
Stopped worrying about myself being safe a long time ago. But you don't need my name this early.
You'll be at the wedding, right?
You do what you need to do, and I'll do what I need to do.
Okay.
Sneak him in.
She nods, and with a full escort, 2 full ranks of soldiers on either side. At this point, Rylan also kind of peels off and joins one of the groups that moves, though he gives a very pleasant goodbye to he's like, Lucrezia, I'll see you in the castle. I just have to do some reporting first.
Okay.
And the group marches in and towards the main house, and everything. Montaigne is super decorated. Everything is gilded. Castille, though, tends to simple instruction. Also goes for the ornate. A lot of interesting lines. Everything about this town and the castle you are going to speaks to strength. Broad, strong bones. Not a whole lot of there's a lot of rock carving. But it tends to be not a whole lot of fine work, more the big geometric shapes and things like that. And as you approach, you're led into the castle courtyard. And the door opens, and out walks a fairly good-looking man, probably fairly close to Hildy's age, who steps out and is just standing at the door, flanked by his own guards. She comes out, kind of glances back in the direction that Kristoff had walked off in, reaches into the stage, pulls out her Zweihander, plops it on her shoulder, and walks forward towards him. And as she does that, several of the courtiers in the courtyard are like, but he laughs. And he walks forward, steps forward, and they meet. And then after a brief talk, he comes forward. I am grateful that the future Duchess of Heinzel had actual escorts instead of walking through the Eisen wilderness all on her own. Thank you all so very much. I am Duke Wolf of Heinzel. We are having, even as we speak, quarters put aside for all of you. How many will you be needing?
We'll be meeting 5.
Of course. And he nods to his seneschal, who then runs off to handle that. And he goes, there's much to do for me and my bride-to-be. Help yourself to the home. Anywhere unlocked, you're more than welcome to go. And there will be a dinner tonight, and I would be honored if you would all be our guests there.
Absolutely.
And with that, he walks off with Hildy, and the guards go to what Mez would very definitely recognize as they are not looking at you, but they are watching you, but are not escorting you. So that they don't know who you are. The Lord says it's okay. So you're not being escorted, but you are being watched.
Mesara very purposefully steps off of the horse by herself. Mm-hmm. And then allows it to be handed off before just kind of dusting off the skirts. And, well, shall we then?
We can. I kind of want to go and find our other person.
I think that's going to be part of it, but going to need a bit of distracting for you to be able to do that.
Let's go in then. We'll figure that out in a minute.
Of course.
All right, so Kristoff, where have you walked off to?
I would do cloak up, head down, and head into the city by whatever means seems the least likely to draw an inordinate amount of attention, and just start getting the lay of the area.
There are several times as you're moving around that a guard will come up and get a good look at your face. Eisen guards tend to be very worried about people who are visibly covering their features, but it's pretty clearly is he human? Yes. Okay. Move on to the next thing. No one really seems to be trying to ID you.
I'm trying to go with more of the slightly downcast, slightly tired, slightly old, because all of those things are true. So not trying to I am not Cass or Junie, and I will look more suspicious if I do that.
Okay.
Just,
as we've discovered, to hilarious effect.
yeah. Just another old soldier from a war that nobody cares about anymore, moving through town.
And in a town with a lot of those, there's even several times as you're walking around, a few people will come by and just say, if you need a warm meal or things like that, you know, they'll kind of point out like, ooh, this guy looks like he needs help, and like sort of gesture you to some places where food for veterans and soldiers. In general, it's good to have a man-at-arms in your house, and someone who might defend it if it came under attack, though it's not as urgent as it is in some other Eisener settlements that you remember. What has become a tradition for them here feels almost purely ritualistic.
But I'll make a roll if you want, but I'm basically just going to start getting the layout of the town and figuring out the approach I would need to make if it becomes a situation where I need to wedding crash.
Looking up at the castle, you don't even need a roll for this. This was built to be an impregnable fortress. That said, it's probably not one, but without... Just because families like to have bolt holes, but you know, you'd have to probably get very lucky to stumble upon any kind of entrance other than that.
I'm not looking for like a secret entrance. Just if something hits the fan so hard that it is a problem, that anything that's that big of a problem is going to be affecting more than just the castle, is my thought. So basically just figuring out what my route would be if things are that bad.
So yeah, it's pretty easy for you to figure out the fastest way to the castle, and maybe a way that might avoid panicking people. You sort of think in future, okay, if most people are trying to run away from the castle, but I'm running to it, what's the best way? And just, you have time, so just doing your work, you're able to figure all that out.
And other than that, trying to find a good overlook for the castle, because that's probably where I'm going to spend most of my time. Whatever that ends up being is fine.
Not too long after you all have arrived, the names have been requested just so you all can be announced. And the names being given are
Reina de Gustavo, Sea Captain.
Okay.
Lucrecia de Marquez.
All right. Judy?
Oh, dang it, I gotta go next. Just Joseph. That's it.
Mez?
Mesara O'Toole, Princess of the Blood of Inishmore.
All of these announcements are made. And not very long after they are, Mesara, you're being approached by someone who is wearing a duelist pin.
Right. Shall we then?
Lady O'Toole. And he gives a bow and reveals that he's not actually here to fight you.
No.
We have received a very specialized request. And they, having heard that you are here, are requesting you to serve as a duelist on their behalf. We have not had much contact with the Castilian school in some time, but as it is understood that you are a member in good standing, would you be willing to meet with our client?
I'd be willing to meet, but I'm making no promises.
This is understood. And he leads you through the castle, moves pretty quickly, is going around. All right, she will be down here shortly. And he walks off. And shortly afterwards, an announcement is made. Lady Eleanor O'Toole. Has anyone else stayed, or is this just Mez in this room? How would you all have handled that?
I assume we would have followed her.
Yeah, Junie would have followed behind.
Mhm.
He would love to see her beat somebody up again.
The door opens. A man-at-arms has been following Lady O'Toole, but remains back by the door. Seems more interested in kind of keeping an eye on what is going on. As Mesara, your mother, Lady Eleanor O'Toole, steps into the room.
Why, thank you. Oh, my dear daughter, Mesara. How lovely to see you again.
My lady.
How interesting to find you here in time for a grand wedding.
I came where I was needed, Mother.
As you have. And are these your traveling companions?
They are. Shall I make proper introductions, Mother?
Yes, please.
This is Lucrezia de Marquez of Castille.
Cass gives a very deep bow fitting for royalty.
This is Joseph.
We just nod.
Reina Gustava, captain of the Cerulean Tides.
A fairly sarcastic-ish bow.
To all those here, this is my mother, Lady Eleanor O'Toole.
Lady.
A pleasure, to be sure.
Very nice to meet you. Queen O'Toole?
No, not
No.
queen. Lady, and not of the blood.
But of the blood of Avalon. And she gives Mez a very pointed look that clearly reminds her, you're of the blood too, honey.
Was there something you are needing, Mother?
She takes a moment to just look at the group before returning her gaze back to Mesara. Yes. Well, it seems that somebody here is disparaging the family honor. And I am looking for someone to defend it. And who better to do it than my own dear daughter? After all, I've heard many great deal things of what you've been getting up to. And let's just say I'm very, very pleased. I mean, the tournament in Castille. Impressive.
Thank you.
And if I'm to hire a duelist, why not one of the family, since that is what is being disparaged?
Then it is my pleasure to inform you that I will not be taking this. I do not duel in my own name.
Really?
Aye. That is why I am hired, Mother.
I
To duel
would
for
pay
the honor of
you.
others.
I fully intend to pay you. As
It's
a
not payment
duelist.
if it's of my own blood.
Here, I thought you would have leapt at the chance to once again prove yourself. I would happily pay you as a duelist, not as my daughter. But it would be nice to have my daughter be the one doing the dueling.
I'm certain it would, Mother. But I cannot duel for the family's honor. Not as a Castilian duelist. And that is where I am from. The school of Castile, am I no?
So the reports say. Dan, clarification. Did he go after the family name or me?
The family name.
Rats. Okay. You're throwing ply out the window already. I don't know what to do. Okay. Villains always know what to do. I totally know what I do. Well, that is a great disappointment to hear. But if you must be so honor-bound otherwise, so be it.
I'm curious. My apologies, my lady, but who could rile you up so much that you need to call upon someone to duel for you?
Well, I myself am not a fighter. But there is a particular gentleman who thinks he is above the family and can just hurl insults however he so pleases. Someone who, well, is quite displeasing and honestly makes a joke of Avalonian blood.
So is it that he's insulting the O'Toole name or your maiden name?
Which one? I don't know.
Both.
Both, actually.
Then why not handle it as the family ever does, Mother? With our words and our politics, as you taught me.
We do. But this gentleman is a duelist himself. I thought it'd be quite a fitting way to handle the matter.
Well, I'm certain you would find a duelist willing to take this on.
You still never named who it was. I'm just saying. The captain asked you a question and you didn't really answer it.
Well, that would be one Sir Lionel Graves. Yes, he's been disparaging both names, and it is, well, vexing. But if you cannot or will not do it, that is fine, dear. Disappointing, but fine.
Of
I
course.
wouldn't want you dishonoring yourself.
Or the family name.
Indeed. But I am glad to see you here for a momentous occasion. I'm quite looking forward to the events.
Of course, something to celebrate.
Indeed.
Are you staying at the castle, Lady O'Toole?
Indeed I am. An interesting place, to be certain.
Your quarters comfortable?
Indeed.
Oh, that's good to hear.
You give a whistle, and your man-at-arms kind of steps out and comes back and says, "He'll be here shortly, ma'am. He's very interested to speak to you, especially now that he's heard that she has arrived."
Of course he has. Thank you. Have you heard of Sir Lionel Graves, dear?
Name doesn't strike me as entirely familiar, no, Mother.
Well, you'll know him shortly enough.
So it would seem.
The door opens, and in comes an Avalonian knight, dressed not for war, but for court, but with a sword at his side, and goes, "All right, woman, you've summoned me, but I can't." You. He looks at Mesara. I suppose you all think that if you were to follow through with the arrangement now, that the months that have passed can be forgiven?
Oh, certainly not. I simply thought a meeting would be sufficient, especially since you are so determined to preach my name. Our name.
You made a deal. And then all of a sudden she can't be found. What's not to disparage?
A deal without fully formed contract is hardly a deal at all.
It was a deal between your husband and my father had an arrangement. They had an agreement. Money was ready to change hands.
I don't really recall there being witnesses.
If a gentleman's word is worth nothing,
A gentleman's word can mean a lot, but a contract always needs witnesses, especially for something as important as an arrangement as this. But it doesn't seem it was recorded properly and has not been followed through, so I don't really see that it is valid.
To be fair and certain, sir, I was not to be found. I had taken the first ship to Castille in an attempt to make a name for myself. So it's not my mother's move, was not my father's move, was my own.
So you are the one then. Your own decisions. A daughter can't even be controlled by her own parents. What sort of wife would that be?
Controlled? No. Mesara here is a lady who knows what she wants, and she goes after it. Has she not made her name more embellished since she left?
This isn't over, O'Toole's.
If there is something you need to be saying, sir, I'd be happy to speak to you about it.
The only speaking that's left to be done with this matter is at the end of a blade.
You can challenge me yourself if you so wish.
He steps forward, pulls off a glove, and slams it down before you.
So aggressive. She probably could made the right choice getting on that ship.
What a temper.
The challenge is accepted, sir. If this is what you so wish.
It is. And he steps back and prepares himself for the duel.
Oh, we're going to do it right here. Not in a courtyard or something more appropriate.
Honestly, between the people that, I'm sure Hildy would love to. I mean, the future Duchess would love to watch this particular action.
I
Juniper's
agree.
about to start moving chairs and
All right,
stuff.
so for the purposes of everyone not Mesara, and not Seekout because he's not here, we are now in a social. Everyone but Mez is currently in a social encounter. It's clear that Mez is ready to fight. He's ready to fight. If anyone does want to move this to a place with more official, it's a chamber that can certainly accommodate a duel. It was clear that this chamber was picked for a private duel sort of on purpose, but there are courtyards. There is even, you all haven't seen a throne room yet, but
I want to roll to move this so it's somewhere more public.
Yo, I'm moving
okay, well,
chairs.
you can just spend a villain point to make that happen.
Done. Wait, how many points do I get?
You started with 5, you were up to 7, you're now down to 6.
Okay, I spent a villain point to make this happen.
All right, at 5 danger points, you you're able to step forward, and very quickly, trumpeters are all around, and the group is moving to an exercise grounds. It's a place for troops to parade and stuff like that. And as it happens, has a balcony for the Duke and his family to watch if they so choose. And in preparations for the party and stuff like that, a lot of people who are around and don't have a whole lot to do just yet are able to kind of step up and be around, be available. 1 second while I make sure I have the duelist moves ready for me. Marquina knows this much better than I do.
I'd like to also pay off someone to make sure that they grab Hildy to be watching. Be like, hey kid, I need you to go find or one of the soldiers, someone. Be like,
pretty easily done. You're able to send word without too much difficulty, and as the duelists are getting prepared in the dueling yard, where did I put those?
I would.
they're in smokes. All there if you needed them.
Dan?
Yeah.
I would like, while all this hustle and bustle is going down, I would like to use a friend at court. So I'm going to spend a hero point to convince the one of the duchy people, servants, that I am a lady in waiting for the Lady O'Toole, and I need to deliver something to her chambers.
Which one?
The elder Lady O'Toole. She says in attempting to do a Finnish accent.
Okay. I'll have to send it through her guards, but what? Yeah, certainly.
You're really going to make that? You're really going to make her wait to have me deliver this?
You know, okay. You're definitely taking.
I'm spending a hero point though.
Oh right, yeah, that's how that works. So yeah, you are able to, with your connections with people, you were able to get through and get something. What are you taking into Eleanor's room?
Oh, I'm not taking anything. While this distraction is going on, I'm going through her stuff.
Okay.
Hey, right. I want to steal.
I'm not stealing valuables. Well, information is valuable to me.
No, I want to steal. I don't care what you're doing.
Too late. She's got it before you.
No, I want to steal while we're watching. I want to go. I ain't going to your room. I'm more of a working public.
Oh, you're a pickpocketer. Got it.
So you're working the nobles?
1000%. What?
Okay. Go ahead and give me your finesse and theft.
Bet.
Well, okay. How are you going about your thieving? Are you pickpocketing? Are you trying to hit rooms?
I'm pickpocketing, so I'm just walking around going, oh man, look at that. Snatch. Oh, I hope that one of them wins. The snatch.
What kind of stuff are you looking for? Are you looking for small and something valuable, or
something small and easy, like rings, watches, necklaces, and stuff like that?
Okay. There's a lot of guard presence around here, and you are one of the shiftier looking of the folks that the guards notice. So yeah, finesse and theft.
Okay.
I'm going to say you have 3 risks of being caught. Depending on how many of them you hit, will be the reaction. Go ahead.
I had to play into my spy quirk.
4?
I have one. I rolled 4 10s.
All right.
So
yeah,
I have 1 die left over. I'll spend it.
You're able to get a good collection. There's no huge jumps in wealth, but you're able to just get little bits and baubles from all around stuff that looks like it might be fairly valuable once you get to a reliable fence. Okay.
Yo,
All right.
Dan?
Yeah.
So I rolled my influence for the social scene.
Mm-hmm.
Can I spend a raise to get any other Avalonians that could be around to be paying attention?
Oh yeah, any Avalonians in attendance are here and very interested.
Okay, so I spent a raise?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The two duelists. Salt. What's Smoke's approach to the social scene?
So we've already gotten this established over there. I'm going to be staying in Mez's corner.
Okay.
So that if there's anything needed, I'm going to be there second, essentially, considering I'm the other duelist of the party.
Yep.
And just be there for all of the other things.
So you're just sort of keeping an eye open and making sure there's no foul play? Is that
Correct.
a good description? All right.
Watching the foul play and be ready for it.
So your approach is going to be wits and notice?
Yep.
Plus flair.
Can I spend another influence raise?
Not yet.
Okay,
Once we
I'll
get
wait.
further into the scene. Once stuff has started happening, then we can... All right.
It's something pre-duel, though.
All right. First off, how many raises did you get?
I rolled 5.
Okay. So...
I want to make sure that Lionel's positioned with the sun in his eyes.
You got the high walls. It's not... that's not going to work just because if the sun is shining in, it's shining from high with the high walls, and so there's no great disadvantage. A neat thought, but the architecture is not really playing you out.
All right, I was trying.
All right, he got 3 successes on his first dueling roll.
Wonderful. I'm spending a hero point and using Disarming Smile.
Okay.
And approaching him.
Mm-hmm.
No blade in hand, just approaching.
What are you doing? It's a duel.
Aye. But if this ends up the way any of my other duels have ended, you're the one who ends up dishonored. Or I can bend the knee to you here in front of all of these and accept the contract as necessary. You stop bringing my name into this. You stop bringing my mother's name into this. You win.
He looks completely surprised, and your voice is still soft now as you're there. Hasn't totally carried. Why?
Because my mother's the one that wanted this duel. She knew you would lose. My father has been making machinations since I was born. I know how this game goes. I know how it ends for us both.
He looks over your shoulder at Eleanor. What are you playing at?
What are you talking about? I can't really hear what's going on over there.
Draw your sword.
I will know.
He glances up nervously at the balcony where Hilde and the Duke isn't there, but Hilde is. And glances down, and the first set of raises passes. You spent got you down to 4. You're not in the room. You've been doing your thieving. So we'll say Smoke, and then we'll see if Eleanor has anything to add socially before. Actually, no, this is social. So when you want to spend a raise, spend a raise. My bad. So Smoke, is there anything you're looking to do as this is happening? It's weird because social's in social time and the duel is in combat time.
Yes. I would start telling stories of how honorable Mesara is in their duels. I know that many would have already started hearing these stories considering Castille, but like just keep spreading that along the crowds that are coming out that if she's not fighting, it's because there's something else going on.
You're saying this was planned?
Saying my father knows me. Saying my mother knows me. I'm saying she brought me into that room for a reason.
To fight me?
Aye. Likely.
Is that
Either
what
way,
engagement happened?
the engagement happened because they wanted more. They ever want more. 'Tis the way of us.
Just... And the sword's almost vibrating in his hand.
I am a father's daughter. I'll follow through with whatever it is that he wishes of me. I only wished for a bit of time to myself.
Too much has happened. Too much to trust it. But he steps back. Are you saying you submit?
Mesara will go down to one knee. I submit.
Can I spend a villain point to somehow change what's happening?
This is a hero decision. You can't alter a hero decision.
Okay. Frick.
He steps back. Shakes his head in confusion and walks out. A couple of the other Avalonians kind of fall into step and walk out with him.
Could I use the last of my raises to catch up with him?
Sure. While you're doing that, real quick, we're going to go to Cass and then we'll go to Smoke. Cass, you are now in Eleanor's room. You don't know how long you'll have. There is a guard rotation, and they do look into these things. So,
I'm going. So layout of the room. What is it?
fairly standard guest room, very nice.
I'm assuming she's got a trunk for travel.
There is a
as
travel
most
trunk,
royal. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm going.
All right. You open it up. You see.
Looking for letters.
You're looking through and you don't see much. Go ahead and give me. And this is going to be about the time you take. This is going to be wits and notice.
One dare, 2, 3 raises.
All right. 3 raises you're moving through. You do find what seem to be some ledgers, different things she seems to have. All of them signed Sareda. Different information, things, and you're kind of glancing through, and this isn't really what you were interested in. But you do get to one page, and you look at it, and you recognize that they all pertain to Mesara. And just as you're doing a quick look over and seeing what's happening, you realize that it is a confirmation and an approval of family funds to continue being sent to Mesara to support her various investments.
All right.
As you're looking through some other things, you're noticing from the variety of clothes in the trunk, there's a lot of different stuff going on here. There's riding clothes, and there's a set of clothes that you find that seems particularly kind of windblown and salty, like were worn extensively on a ship and have not yet had an opportunity to be properly laundered. And other stuff that seems to indicate that she was not entirely sure what this trip was going to be entail and wanted to be prepared for basically anything.
Okay.
And finally, you're carefully putting everything back so it's not immediately obvious that the trunk has been ransacked or anything like that. And you're stepping up and you're stepping around, and you see set off on one of the vanities a note with a duelist pin on it. The note is currently sealed, but it is addressed to Mesara.
Spike work. Spike work. I'm taking it.
All right.
Can I spend a villain point to make it in a language she doesn't know?
No, you weren't the one who wrote the note, unfortunately.
And even if she couldn't read it, I can.
Yep, you raised a very intelligent daughter.
I know.
All right, yeah, I take it and the dueling pin, and
All
I
right.
am going to slip it into my coat.
Okay.
Can I spend a villain point to have the guards show up as she's leaving my room?
No, she got her rolls. She was able to get in and out before.
The thing you should have done is
Gave
spent a danger point to make it to that I had to roll 15s.
That is always also an option to spend it, but it only lasts for a scene. So
Okay. Once I
What's
have
the
the
difference between villain points and danger points then? I'm confused.
villain points and danger points are the same thing. I
And-
jump back and forth between the two pretty regularly.
Dan,
Okay.
since taking the note is putting me at risk because I took something that will noticeably be missed. Hero point.
Yep.
Thank you.
And follow up on that, hero point for showing that nobility is more than money.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right. 20-year-olds getting it.
All right. So, back into the courtyard. Waerhilde looks very kind of curious from the deck, like she came out expecting the fight, looking forward to the fight. Sees that and gives you sort of an odd look, and then looks over her shoulder like she's being called, and turned and walks off. And bit by bit, since the show seems to be over, people start drifting out.
Can I put in check, can I use a raise if everyone's about to disperse?
Yeah, sure.
I want it spread to the crowd of, oh, look at that guy. He challenged someone to a duel and he couldn't even follow through with it or accept it honorably.
And you're pretty good at manipulating the whispers. So the story is about split half and half. Half the story is the O'Toole girl submitted. Half the story is actually you're having trouble getting it there from the ones who saw it. Like, what was it exactly that we just saw that doesn't sound like the Mesara O'Toole we've heard of? And everyone just kind of there's a lot of confusion over what precisely just happened. They're definitely not used to seeing two duelists step into the ring together. Submissions are very rare, especially in non-death duels, which this had not been declared to be. So no one really seems to know what to do with this, though your raise does manage to put in some pro O'Toole.
Can I use all my raises left to increase
No,
it?
that's how
No?
social scenes are. When the scene runs,
Okay.
they're just done. So,
Okay.
all right. The everyone kind of scatters, and there's a smattering of guards. The place seems a little bit less wealthy somehow, and the main players, the party, Mesara and Eleanor, are all kind of left, sort of awkwardly looking at each other.
Mesara will rise and dust her gown off. To your satisfaction, Mother.
Dear, I've always been satisfied with what you've done.
Then I hope that I can be released to my quarters, yes?
Well, I was hoping I could get to know your companions a bit more and help you all prepare for the wedding. I would certainly hope that you all have suitable outfits for the occasion.
Aye.
Excellent, then. And she turns to face the party. Thank you for watching out for my dear. I really appreciate it, even though she, of course, is very accomplished on her own. By the way, dear, and she turns back to Mesara, I've gotten word about your expenditures on your voyages, and, well, your sister seems to think that some of them will be profitable investments. So, love to see what else you can do. And she pulls out a bag of money and offers it to Mesara.
Of course, Mother.
All right. The guard, Eleanor's guard, steps forward, drops into step with her and goes, "Ma'am, back to our quarters then."
Indeed.
You turn and walk out. And the party, for now, is left as alone as you are ever going to be in this castle.
I think now's the time we need to find Kristoff.
Yeah.
I've been chasing after our friend.
You were following Lionel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. I am sorry. Yes, you're chasing after Lionel, and you managed to catch up to him as he's walking. The first submitted, so there's no need for a second.
I'm not here to be a second.
And what is it?
I think what I see is that you're having a hard time trying to figure out where all the conspiracy is. The question is what do you lose? Why was this arrangement so important?
It was... My family had money. Theirs had nobility. A power play. But one that was apparently never meant to be followed through on. A girl who wasn't ready for it. And so caught a boat to anywhere else. Now, I don't know how the Inish do it. But when Avalonian daughters are rebelling against their mothers, there's very little they won't do to drive the point home.
I think what just happened out there, she should take into consideration, is you had one of the most honorable people on the planet offer you exactly what you were asking for. And all they were asking for was time. And this could get you both what you want and spite the ones that she's having a problem with. But if you keep your hot head, you're not going to get what you want. Not to mention the head on that one could get you more money, more nobility. You could probably get more even if you didn't marry her. She's smart. You'd be better working with her than against her. Especially to get back at those who made an arrangement that should not have been made. I'll leave you with that.
He kind of listens and then gestures to his guys, and without quite the intent of marching that he'd had before, steps out. And Smoke is able to rejoin the others.
Me too, I assume.
Yep. Yeah, around this time, Castille reappear.
Well, to the business of finding Kristoff.
The group heads out into the city, and how are you going to go about trying to find him?
We have been with Kristoff for months now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We know his warfare tactics. He's going to be sitting in some bar. Yeah, I know. It's kind of half there, half pirate, half Irish. It's been a thing the last week. But it fits. It fits. He's going to be sitting somewhere where he can watch the doors, watch the castle. That was going to be the first place we should be looking.
I would legitimately just ask some kids that I see on the street, have you seen some old man who looks
Brooding.
who's brooding? See, and he's just looks like he wants to be anywhere else, but is just still wandering around aimlessly.
All right. So we've got... you know what? For the fun of cinematics, you all are able, with that going forward, and because it's just a matter of time, it's not a risk, you all are able to track around, ask some questions. Cass, your description doesn't get very far because you've described a lot of older Eisen men, and usually that makes him stand out, but here that's everyone. In fact, as you are walking around, the number of times you're like, oh, there it... No, okay. Oh, there it is.
Just like my grandmother, I accidentally stereotyped.
Bruce can track him. Dan. Bruce can track him.
Oh, right, yep. And Bruce, you're right. Takes you straight to him. So,
Juniper, am I stereotyping a lot? I can't tell. Am I being offensive? You don't get out.
No, it's okay.
So where set the scene for where he's at, because I'm gonna likely either slam a cup down, like a mug down in front of him, or come up behind him and smack him. Like just...
Okay, you all walk in, and you found an inn that looks similar to the Beso before Mez started her tipping, and coming in, you see Kristoff kind of back to a wall, eye near a window. He's got... I mean, it's hard to get to a place that doesn't have a clear view of the castle in Heinzel, but you're fairly quickly able to locate him, and there he is. No drink in front of him.
I'd have one for aesthetics.
Okay. A full mug in front of him?
Yeah, it would look suspicious if I didn't have a drink. I at least know that much about sneaking now.
So this is where you're at.
Should it be somewhere else?
Mez, I think you're right. He's brooding.
He's brooding. Not that I can blame him at this particular moment. In a bit of a brood myself.
Yeah, but you did good.
Aye.
You missed quite a show, Kristoff.
Yeah, so I'm gathering.
Should be congratulating me. I just confirmed my engagement.
I would have at some point.
We'll fall over Kristoff at that mention.
Possibly not an engagement, though. You had a chat with your betrothed. He's just as upset about being played as you are. And if he's
It's not
smart,
being played. It's politics.
isn't that what politics is playing one against another? But if he's smart, he can make you an ally without having to marry you.
I will not have my honor or my family's honor besmirched by my own actions again. I was already cowardly once and ran. Loyalty to my country comes first. Duty to my family.
True. But the man doesn't
Yes.
have to.
Have you ever considered that those two things might not line up?
The O'Bannon is Inishmore. The O'Tooles stand behind the O'Bannon.
I'm starting to think you do. Not so sure the rest of your name does.
Yes, well, I'm my father's daughter.
No, you ain't. But that's not the point.
Cass, while they're all talking, I'm assuming there's candles and stuff on the on the tables.
Yeah, it's decently. Actually, it's quite well. You're noticing another thing you're noticing about Eisen architecture is every room is very well lit.
Cass is just wordlessly holding one of her daggers over the candle, just letting them talk.
It warms up, pretty normal.
Taking a letter.
Pop the wax off.
Yep, wax pops pretty easily. You're doing this just kind of openly in front of everyone?
Yep.
Mez, you see a letter.
Question.
Okay.
What time of year is it? I don't remember. Is it
Late fall. Late fall.
snow on the ground?
There hasn't been so far, but you've got that bone ache. Of course, that
Okay,
might just be
it's
all-
not freezing yet? Okay, then I won't stop her.
Mhm.
But
Ah,
You're able
yes,
to pop it up, and then Mez, you see a letter with your name on it, with the seal being removed.
not removed, just lifted,
Oh.
while to keep the integrity of the wax seal, because that's the important part.
Yep.
What she doesn't open it, she doesn't read it, just passes it over to Cass, to Mez.
Mez accepts it.
Yeah, there was a duelist pin with it.
Of course there was. Right. And
You open it up, and you're able to recognize the handwriting right away from your old teacher. I heard you graduated. I'm not surprised. I heard also that your mother has a plan to take advantage of it and to use it. Congratulations. You've increased your value to the family. It would do me a great honor if, as you duel from now on, if you would wear the pin I earned from the Aldana school. Use it in good health if you wish.
well then. Looks like I have a point to make.
She also, I read all of her letters. They were signed by someone named Sereda,
Sarada.
and there was a confirmation and approval of all your investments to continue funding you.
That would be my sister and the holder of the purse strings for the family. Right? Well. Seems we have several things to celebrate now. Foremost, Hilde. The rest of this can be handled later. Aye?
Yeah. Whiskey! What?
Do they even have whiskies here? This is Eisen. This is not English.
Oh, yeah, you got.
I mean, they have people in. They've got people that came in. Maybe they imported some.
The
Possibly.
waitress looks back and it comes out and is like, well, we've got...
Mead.
There is one keg. And he pulls out a little bit of a pony keg.
Oh.
Oh,
We've been holding it for a special occasion. If you
well,
want,
I have this money I can be investing into your... Would that count as a special occasion?
you can look. He's like, 3 gold and it's yours.
20 gold and I'd like to start a tab.
Can I create a problem so it's harder for you to get the whiskey?
She will make it harder for us to throw down and hang.
Yes.
This is actually what. So it gets set down, and glasses get brought out. It gets tapped, drinks get poured and passed around, and Mez, you lift it up and then lower it because this is special whiskey. This is not. In fact, it's not whiskey. It's Krather.
Ah,
This is the real stuff.
this, my heart.
This is the heaviest. This is the stuff that if you drink it, you become real-ish really fast.
Right, so here's my warning to y'all. If you drink this, you're not going to be remembering the rest of the week. So
What?
it's a good thing we have a few before Hilde does their thing, right? And
So
upends hers.
Junie, you throw back, and it hits you, and it is the most magical, wonderful. Like it is so smooth, and it goes down, and it's old, and it's ancient. And you take a moment, and it's amazing, and then the room starts getting a little. Who all is drinking? As these get put out. Okay.
Me and Kristoff get to be old people together.
You get to be the smart ones who won't be smashed.
I'll sip on one.
Smash.
So,
On. One and done.
Kristoff,
actually-
you smell it, and you're like, and you who have used the remains of the undead to create brews, you sniff this, and you're like, and you realize magic is used in the creation of this. It's very nearly hexen work.
How does it affect Stormkiss blood? Because that's going down.
So everyone who just slams down, you are having. Well, actually, this is interesting. So Kristoff is just sipping, and Cass is totally avoiding.
She smelled
Correct.
it and she just went,
If there's any kind of undue effects, I will stop because I cannot allow that risk right now.
yeah,
Yeah, this
She
will
had-
leave you drunk.
she had a cup of rum and was done, sir. You think she can drink this?
Oh no.
Yeah, no.
Tell us the
All right.
things. What did we set upon the world?
So we'll start. We'll start. All right. So we'll go around. We're gonna go Mez. We're gonna go Smoke. We're gonna go Junie. Mez, you throw back. I've been summoned quite a few ways. This is new. Summoned by Krather.
You want to celebrate with me?
I'd love to. What you
Right.
doing, girl?
Here's to my engagement. And hands him a cup.
You're what now?
That was the whole thing, and my mother tried to get me to duel him, and then I chose to accept the engagement instead.
So,
I've had a
No.
bit of a day. Can we just drink?
you are. You're
I-
blasted. You did.
I'm realizing that now.
He leans forward. So you stopped rebelling against your da by picking it up against your ma.
To be fair, my mom never really took much interest in me before. Like, at least my dad had the balls to manipulate me. She just didn't care. Saying this out loud to where everyone as she's talking to the air.
We don't see him, we just see her talking
You
there.
absolutely hear what is happening. You are not seeing the O'Bannon. Is that the real reason, Lass? Truly. Because if you want to marry this lad, if it's what you want, if you're willing to fight for him.
None of this has been ever what I wanted, but it's what I have to do.
You heard them say the marriage is off. You left. The contract was broken.
Aye. But the traditions of the Inish, our laws that we abide by in our hearts, I broke that when I left. This is the way I heal it.
It's not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. You couldn't unmurder a man that you'd stabbed. You can't unpunch a man that you punched when you shouldn't have. Fighting till you can't is going forwards, not backwards.
You think this is fighting when I can? This is exactly that. I accept what they want, I make the move, and I use it against them.
It's settling. Like your dad was doing. The game's changed.
You keep saying stuff like that. The game has changed. My blood's important. You're speaking like the fucking Fae.
Because I am a fucking Fae.
I understand that. I'm not. Well, we don't need to be talking about that right now.
If that is as small as your ambition lies, if that is fighting as far as you can go, there's no shame in taking it. But if you want to be doing more for Inishmore, for your friends, for your family, don't spurn a hand that's offered. What's up to you?
I think you know what hand is
even
offered.
Really here.
Yeah, I don't entirely know that you are here, but you don't ever know if you're actually here because you kind of do the whole fucking Fae thing.
The rules. I was there in Castille.
Of course you were.
Right now, where am I? On a boat. Weird.
Why are you on a boat?
I rule an island.
Oh, no, that's fair. I'm a wee bit sloshed.
Crather will do that.
This is my first time trying it. I've seen Leon do it a time or two.
Yeah. To him, it's just a drink.
Of course it's just a drink. Fucking Montagnan that he is.
Well, they're Montagnans that it'll affect.
Oh, yeah,
And, all right. Next up, Smoke. You throw it back. And the sea is around you, and you're on a ship, and you're just moving. But it's that good wind. It's a good storm. The winds are strong, but not to the point where you think it's going to break your mast. This is everything the ocean can throw at you that you know your ship can take. And so, yeah, it's cold. Yeah, it's wet. But this is as fast as your ship normally should move. But you've experienced your ship moving faster than it should be able to move lately. and a voice is behind you. Hi!
Hello.
Why don't you like my name?
I believe Cerulean is a beautiful name.
Why'd you want to change it?
You see, there's some scary things out there chasing us, and I didn't want you getting captured. It's for your protection is why.
Do you think anyone could capture you? With me in your sails?
That does be a question. Are you just in the sails? What if I got another ship and brought the sails over?
I'd have to ask. There's rules. The deal's not with you yet. Do you want to make one? I'd have to finish with her first. There's rules.
You can ask me again when you're finished. I'm not sure if I want to make a deal, but I don't want to turn the possibility down.
She looks at your arm and taps it. And you expect to see Bruce, but you don't. You realize she's touching where your tattoo that is not yet manifested is. What's that?
It's brewing. I'm not entirely sure yet until it decides to show itself.
It's looking for something. I'll talk to you soon. Junie! You look around and you see the in-between.
Dang it!
But it feels different. You look down, and normally when you're walking in the in-between, you're walking on the water, the red waves. Now you seem to be kind of drifting above it. And you're moving, you're walking, and you see a figure in a cloak and a hood. And it's staring at you from a long way away.
He is tired of running. He's going to start walking towards it.
One moment you think you see female, one moment you think you see male, one moment more androgynous. It's hard to tell here. Pulls out a deck of cards. And holds up a hand. Fans the cards. And holds it out to you.
Well, no. People usually have conversations before they just deal cards. So, he's gonna just grab a card.
All right. One moment.
Cass just looks at Kristoff, seeing everyone kind of just spaced out and or talking to themselves, and just leans over to him. I think I made the right call not drinking in this.
Right call. Yeah. More interesting? Probably not. It's not too late.
It smells like the stuff they use to get paint off the walls.
Pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah, it's not too late, Kristoff.
What'd you
I'm
say?
gonna roll flip a coin for it.
I said,
It's
yeah, it's not too late, Kristoff.
You can create problems for yourself.
Wait, okay. Evens is gonna be heads, tails is odds. If I roll an evens, I will drink. Shit.
She only needs half a drink.
She'll only need half.
I'll just give you the one I've been sipping on. That's probably lower by now.
Cass pinches her nose to drink it.
We'll see you in the morning.
All right. You pull out a card, Juniper. And on it, you see a couple. Male and female, holding each other close, both naked. There's signs around them of beauty, signs of a date that's gone well, signs of everything, but they're just there, enamored. And your hubris has altered. Your hubris from the card The Lovers, you gain a hero point when you become enamored with someone that you should not. And as, while holding that, you think of Hildy, you gain a hero point.
Yes.
It just changed
Approve.
hubris.
Approve.
Well,
And this is a fundamental alteration of Juniper's character. What your old hubris remains, it's a part of who you are, but Juniper's going to be falling in love a lot.
so
You're
I
gonna
just
stick
keep
one
both.
of us with it.
So I just keep both of it.
This hubris is the only one that scores you hero points now.
Yeah.
The other can still affect your actions, but yeah, you're one of your major arcana has been altered.
Glad you got it, not me.
I flipped a coin. I flipped a coin and decided to drink.
Interesting. Okay. Cass.
I had to pinch my nose to drink it, and I 100% gagged after I set a drink.
Well, actually, you throw it back, and you've hated all the booze you've ever drunk before. This isn't awful. And at first, you're like, oh, ooh. And the way the intoxication just waves over you. It hits big, and you blink for a second to try to clear your head. The room feels like it's spinning. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And you see you're in the ruin. From Seal Island, you're looking around. But it's the same, but it seems that there has been stuff constructed all around it. Pieces of architecture that are interacting with each other and moving together and shifting the entire landscape. And it's like from here, the sun strikes and the shadows seem to move, like they're a part of what's happening too. Like, and you feel from all of the work you've done, like it's almost like it's a mechanical computer. Not that Kaz would know immediately what that is, but like just a calculation seems to be happening. And you're looking at it all, and you feel like you can see it coming to some sort of conclusion or prediction. Logic, reason, the human mind above magic, being used to peer forward. Not through sorcery, but through the understanding of the odds. And standing in the middle of all of it is Paolo de Marquez. Arms crossed, but in a patient way, not an angry way.
What is all this?
An extrapolation. You start with the first clue. You add what follows. You get 1 iteration, 2 iterations, 3 iterations. And you start to see what will be without knowing. Not because you had a window, but because you recognized the patterns. This is what they were trying to build.
A way to predict the future?
Among other things. We've had 3 iterations.
3 iterations.
But the equation is not complete yet.
What does it need to be complete?
Don't you remember the lessons? Too busy playing with the sword, I suppose. 3 prophets.
The end.
The 4th.
The final prophet.
She's coming. But there's a problem.
What is it?
An iteration changes what came before. And there are those who want to believe that their iteration is all that needs to be known. And they have power now.
You're working for them, though.
Because it's their iteration. It's the best we have now.
I don't think what you consider the best is what we should acknowledge as the best.
Just because it's best doesn't mean it's perfect and can't be corrected.
It needs to be corrected.
There's something you need to know first.
And
It's
what's
here.
that?
He reaches up and taps your forehead. You've had a drink of a powerful substance. And suddenly, your father is speaking to you. What does that tell you?
I'm hallucinating?
I would say thinking more deeply, but yes. Let's just say if you ask Paolo de Marquez, he will not remember this conversation.
Because it's all in my head.
It's an extrapolation. His is a voice you trust. Not perfectly.
And who are you really? Just my conscience?
A conscience is second guessing. I'm your imagination, if you need a term. An extrapolation. The ruins triggered something in you. Now you're considering what they could be. What won't you let yourself know?
We both know the answer to that.
You should say it out loud.
He might not be my father.
And we're back at the table. So, the 4 of you are thoroughly blitzed. Kristoff? Kristoff suddenly realizes he's going to have to spend less of his time eyeing the castle and more making sure this group does not get into too much trouble. Luckily, there is some singing in the tavern that has been struck up, and for a town where weddings and stuff are going to happen now, the partying atmosphere seems to fit, though the mood of everyone involved kind of shakes. Luckily, one of the side effects of Crather is you tend not to stick on one subject for very long, and so folks are able to get into some aspect of the party. But back at the castle, a figure steps into Eleanor's room. It's dark. You've never liked all the lights that the Eiseners put in their rooms, and surely with all these armed guards, you're fine. The figure steps in. Seems she's more particular in her rebelliousness than you thought.
So it would seem.
My mistress is not going to be happy with this.
Things aren't over yet. After all, there's still a wedding to be had, and we've barely talked.
If we cannot count on Mesara O'Toole, we might need to reconsider the wisdom of permitting the wedding.
Of the Duke?
Talk to her well. Or the assassins might have to get involved.
So barbaric.
When we need to be.
Of course.
You have her card.
Indeed.
And he steps out into the night as the guard walks past as if he did not see anyone just then. And with that, we are going to bring this episode of the Blades of Roses to a close. Thank you so much to AJ Cinematic for joining us. We will have a full villain episode with her next time. In the meanwhile, everyone take care. Thank you so much to our producer, Del, for everything you've done for us. And scene.